rotten wind, wind power.
Well, I'm going to try to frame this as a general issue because I've heard it, one half of it from Steve, and then I just heard what I will take to the other half of the issue when we talk about carbon-based fuels versus so-called renewable resources.
Right.
So,
I can't hear what you're saying.
I'm sorry.
It's a mouthful, it was too much noise.
I need a mic.
there is one mic.
There is one. Where is it?
You mean a star of the show. Yeah, let's move it.
Brilliant idea.
This man has common sense. Come on, in.
Then you come down here and I'll go sit beside you.
Mark, how are you? Good to see you.
People should always be within handshake.
Well, I'm just trying to, I haven't written anything down, but I'm trying to encapsulate what you're saying without neglecting something, but also without being too specific. Right, so
What if we local energy sufficiency conservation, it says?
yeah, local energy. I was trying to say self-sufficiency, and then I just kind of covered that with conservation.
Yeah, I think that's good. Local energy sufficiency conservation. Lack of energy.
I was going to say lack of energy resources, carbon-based versus renewable. So
Although we must have some renewable because the Spanish company just put all their windmills right up on the mountains here behind us.
Right.
So there is wind there.
We have hydro, locally.
So what you're saying is there are some renewable resources. Okay.
But it's so much more expensive. Like for my friend who has hydro, well, I don't want to get off on it.
Why not?
To operate it because there's no subsidy for hydro.
So I put question of cost efficiency.
Yeah, I'm aware of, just a side note to support what you said, I'm aware of a guy who owns the dam in Laconia, right by the mill there.
Oh yeah.
And there's sometimes he turns it off because he's making a penny or 2 cents a kilowatt. It just doesn't make, numbers don't work.
So that's that's something we're getting into the next topic of question. That's a trouble because we have these renewables, but it hasn't become cost efficient enough for people to actually run them and provide energy.
Yeah.
Shift of people subsidizing some things.
There's a scale. I mean, I know that the Canadians actually buy back electricity from the United States when it's cheap, and then they sell it back to us when it's not. So I mean, they're using the latent energy in the water back up to store the energy, which is really smart because it's instant on, and that's the whole trick. Instant on. It has to be available when you need it. You can't store it up in the batteries.
So if you think more regionally, another source that people don't really talk about is wave power.
What did you say?
Wave power.
Waves.
Yeah.
W-A-V-E.
Ocean tides.
Maybe wave.
But I think, yeah, and
So to get that from Maine rather than buying from a foreign country, I mean, part of the discussion is always that we want to keep it, American. So we always assume that the Canadians are always going to be friendly. Whatever, they're still a foreign nation.
Yeah, you can continue to develop the Dakotas and bring in the pipeline, and there's opportunities in Oklahoma with oil and natural gas.
Can I bring up a completely new issue, which is, it says climate impacts here, and I think we would be remiss if we didn't mention that our snow industry, which is huge, is going down the tubes because we don't have enough snow. I don't know how, I mean, it's just something that's happening right now that you hear a lot about.
Last 2 years, did you see that?
bad.
Dual road, because of dual road.
The snowmobiles are not, I mean, yeah, snowmobiles and lack of snow is causing some economic hardship in the area, I would say. Unless you're really rich and can make it, that's what snow, a lot like the little mountains can't do that. So there's a lot of people hurting because we don't have snow.
Yeah, that's a tough business. I would never want to be in the ski business.
Not right now.
Well, I mean, that goes with everything. Being heavily reliant on the tourism is highly dependent upon weather and now and upon fuel costs as to whether or not it's a good year or not a good year for those who are dependent on tourism.
And it's not just the people in the snow industries, it's like the little town store in Newbridge.
Right, yeah.
Keeps going out of business, nobody can make that thing work. And it's so frustrating. And it's because there's no, if there's not a good ski season or snowmobile season, they can't keep it open.
Now we're already transitioning.
Oh, sorry.
Right? No, it's good. It's good. You guys are connecting issues. That's good. That's good. That's what yeah, we're getting into economic development. Exactly. But is there anything else anybody wants to say about natural resources and energy? Going once, going twice. So, okay, focus 5. Now, what I think is economic vitality. So basically, this is your general economics. Any economic issues in the region, locally, the state.
Well, I think tourism, I think Marsha hit it right on the head about tourism, and you know, you get some in the winter, we get some in the summer, but then we've got some lag time. Fall is great for tourism if the leaves are right, and there's a lot of ifs that go with tourism and bringing people into the area. You know, Steve talked about the great highway that we've got that's just beautiful to drive on. If you go through Pennsylvania, you wouldn't want to go through it again because the roads are so bad. But that brings people up here because it's easy to get to. You know?
Taking it one step further though, sooner or later people are going to realize that you can't always follow the same paradigm of what you thought was working for economic prosperity. Or, you know, like, oh, we're in a downtime, but we're going to be back to what it was, because I don't think what it was sustainable enough to be what it's going to be. So part of that, too, is looking to what kind of economies you can build on a more local, sustainable level, so that we won't go bust if the tourists don't come this year because the leaves are bad, because the weather was bad, and because the fuel prices are too low. Beyond tourism, what else can be developed that is sustainable within the state, given the type of state it is and what it has to offer?
See, I think our big deal here, what we have to offer is lifestyle and things that are very appealing to people who can work anywhere. Based upon their, you know, affordability of their location, based on the internet, and we have opportunities to make it really attractive for people to earn their living and do it in the woods, you know.
But do we want to?
Well, I mean, I think it's the sustainable thing, you know, that if you want to have a base, you know, like economically sustainable base. Now, Plymouth is very lucky because we have this university up here that pumps out salaries every year, regardless, right? That really keeps our flow going. You move 20 miles from here, and you've got a whole different problem. You know, it's completely different. It's a milestone. So we are actually, Plymouth is importing student tuition, students with their tuition. We're exporting educated kids. That's what we do.
Memorial Day to Labor Day.
What do they do in Warren? You know, they have wood products that helps their flow of payments, their balance of trade.
Almost
So
tourism.
educated workforce? Is that what you're hitting at? Or I don't want to...
I'm saying that, you know, well, we are both educating that workforce. We're exporting that workforce. Then we have to re-import new people to appreciate what we have here, to do what is possible here, to create the economic base that is not involved in the education business.
So we're not keeping the people that...
We don't have a plan, I think. We don't have a plan to develop.
We don't have a plan, that's a really good way of putting it.
We don't have a plan to develop, we don't have any local or, as far as I know, state-assisted plan to develop micro businesses. That's quite true. We have an enterprise system, an enterprise center, so there is something. But
Poor choice of building location, right in the corner.
Very important, yeah.
Right
yeah.
next to a flood zone.
Yeah.
Right. Because they call themselves business development people. I know them too. I'm working with them. And I said to them, why did you pick that building? It's got to be the worst location ever.
So kind of similar to zoning, but kind of different is just poor placement of businesses in non-accessible locations.
it's like,
Yeah, but that's just
We're
a stupid
example.
mistake.
How to run
I mean, that's the brunt of it. You don't put a building there that's at a rotary with no parking next to an overflowing river.
That's my favorite place for it personally. That's where I've always wanted to.
Next to government flood insurance that is paid for by our tax dollars, and 5 years from now when it's flooded, they'll have to use their insurance policy. Yep.
GrokTV.